I guess for me, like at 22, I figured out what it was like to die. I like lay on the side of the road, and people say that when you die, like your life flashes before you. For me, it didn't. It was every reason I wanted to live. It was every mistake I made, every time I was an asshole as I wanted.
Good as Gold's the official Gold's Gym Australia podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Good as Gold's podcast. Boy, do we have an episode for you. Callum, who have we got?
We do. We are talking to Mark Daniels, keynote speaker, just general motivational lord, and an adaptive athlete as well.
Full-time legend. In this episode, we go into pretty much where the most pivotal part in his life so far has actually happened.
He had to rebuild his life from the age of 22. So a horrific accident happened. From 22 on, he had to adapt, change, and we dive deep.
We do cover some ground, and we talk actually about the way that he lives his life now, which is like, honestly, it's so inspiring. This episode is going to inspire you guys. So honestly, listen in.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, just a quick disclaimer here that we do touch on themes of suicide in this episode today.
Proudly supported by Raw Energy, cafe partner for Gold's Gym Australia.
Alrighty, welcome in, Mark. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
So, Mark, can you quickly explain who you are? Give us a little bit about yourself.
Give us a little rundown.
God, how do you sum up 7 years in an hour? Let's do this. All right. So I am Mark Daniels. I'm an above-knee amputee, 29 years old, from Perth. I'm an Australian para-canoe athlete, and I am an adaptive athlete of all different kinds. And just do a lot of crazy stuff with one leg, and it's a pretty cool journey.
Man, I've seen some videos on the gram of you deadlifting one leg, like box jumping, incredible stuff. Before we go into that side of things and all the stuff that you're up to at the moment, can you dive a little deeper into how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so it all started, basically, I just got back from a 4.5-month deployment in the Navy. I spent 8 years in the Navy as a Marine technician. We returned back to Australia from doing a Northeast Asian deployment. And 3 days later, we were going on leave for a month. So I was pretty looking forward to just traveling, doing the normal things we get after being away for so long.
Yeah.
And riding my motorbike home from a mate's place, and a distracted driver just turned across my lane and actually T-boned me. I woke up not knowing what the hell has happened. I was conscious through it all, and it was pretty crazy to go through. My list of injuries were a broken neck, 11 broken ribs, a punctured lung, ruptured kidney. My heart was grazed against my rib cage, broken right femur in 4 places, ruptured my femoral artery on the right side, broken right hand, my fib and tib on the right side were just completely destroyed. Went through 65 units of blood, died 3 times, and had to be like fully resuscitated. And I was in a coma for 10 days. So going through that at 22 years of age kind of just changed my life.
Literally.
It let me know that I'm not 22 and bulletproof. And when it's something so out of your control, and then you wake up and this is your life, it's such a big shock, and you're like, okay, how do I do this?
Wow.
So that's basically what got me into this journey, is going through something like that and that amount of change. And it was pretty unreal.
Wow.
That is that list of just, it didn't stop. It's
like a shopping list. Like I went from not breaking a bone to breaking every bone in my body.
And so then that led to amputation of a limb.
Yeah, so originally I went below the knee. So I still had my knee joint, and I was 5 centimeters below my knee on the right side. However, after 14 surgeries, I decided, let's get rid of it. Like, it's not working.
Yeah.
My leg was stuck at like 40 degrees. So I was never going to run, never going to walk properly, ride a bike. I'm like, this isn't living. Like, it's not helping me. Get rid of it. So that's when I elected to have it chopped off, and against medical advice, everyone was like, you don't want to do this. It's so much harder being an above knee.
Yeah.
And they were right. It is so much harder, but there's no point holding on to something that doesn't work.
Wow.
That is unbelievable. So can you give us a little insight? Like, so you woke up after being in a coma, and where was your mind at?
So my dad told me what had happened. He's like, mate, look, like, you've lost your leg. You're in the motorbike accident. And like, I remember bits and pieces, but at the time I was just so messed up on drugs and everything.
Yeah.
Medical drugs, sorry.
Yeah.
Like from being in the coma and all the ketamine infusion and everything you get. I just wasn't aware. And all I could manage was, oh shit. And then just like blacked out again. I really struggle with that mental side. Is that for me, I was such a young, fit, active person in the military. I was such an extreme sports enthusiast. Loved the adventure. I didn't want to be a person with a disability. I didn't know how to be disabled. I didn't want to be a burden on society or my family. So I made the decision to commit suicide in hospital. I tried to pull out all the breathing tubes and actually end my life because I didn't want to put my family through having to like be with me like while I was just this potato and I didn't know how to do it. Because I guess when you don't have that exposure to disabilities, you don't know what is possible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So for me, like, I had like 200 mates like from the Navy. The whole ship was turning up and they were having to like close the waiting room because there was just a whole ship of sailors in the waiting room. Personally, I think they came to see the nurses. But after like, 4.5 deployment, the boys were a bit lonely. So yeah, like during the day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., I was like just surrounded by people.
That's
and like
incredible.
barely moved, just had a full neck brace with a broken neck. And like I was just had so much support. But then at night, and you're alone in a dark room, no windows, that's when it really starts catching up with you. And as a young, fit, healthy person, I thought mental health was only for people, like mental health issues were only for people that were weak. I didn't know what it was like to go through something like this that was really going to push me. And I was really struggling to just be alive. My captain at the time put me in touch with Paul DeGelder, who's the Navy clearance diver. That's lost his arm and leg, and I know he trains at Golds over in the States. And I've seen his content. That's pretty amazing. Paul basically, he was the one that saved me. He's like, mate, like people are going to tell you what you can and can't do for the rest of your life. He's like, tell them all to fuck off. You define your own limits. Your limits don't define you, and that's tattooed across my ribs now. So once I had that chat with Paul, I read his book. And then I started going, okay, what can people with disabilities do? So started networking, looking through, and I'm there like with like this broken neck, trying to like use a tablet, kept dropping it on my face because I couldn't even hold my arms up. I was that messed up on drugs. And what I realized, it was all the medication I was on that was actually making me so numb and not ready to fight. So I started to get weaned off it all. And once I was actually reduced all that medication, I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's fight. The only problem is my body was nowhere ready to fight. I was so weak, so broken. I lost 30 kilos in hospital. I went from like 100 kilos down to like, I think under 60. I was like absolute skin and bones just because they couldn't get any nutrition into me. So that was a big shift. So then they sent me home, and that was the kind of big reality check. Is that when you're in hospital, you're lying in a bed, you got nurses to help you, like shower you. Like, it's easy. You get home, you're by yourself. You're like, oh God, how do I do this? Like, don't know how to use a wheelchair, don't know how to use crutches. Using crutches for 2 legs is quite easy. Using crutches with 1 leg's a whole different kettle of fish. And like, I couldn't go to the toilet by myself, I couldn't shower by myself, so you lose all that support. So I ended up having to move back in with my parents, which it's not ideal at 22.
And that's I want to kind of touch on that point there. So that pivotal point, your life has completely changed. You've spent, how long were you in hospital for?
It was only 3 weeks originally.
So 3 weeks in hospital.
Wow, 3
because
weeks.
Because I was so fit and healthy, and like for me, like Royal Perth Hospital in the state trauma unit, it's just concrete. There's no windows. You're in with guys like criminals that are like handcuffed to the beds next to you, screaming. It's such a horrible place to be.
Get me out.
So you wanted out. So
my surgeon's like, look, do you want to go home? I'm like, I want to go home.
Yes.
He's like, you can lay here in a bed or you can lay at home in the bed. So I was like, all right, let's go home. And then we had Silver Chain coming and doing daily leg dressings and pulling all my bandages off, which was so much fun.
So you're 22, you've just gotten home, you're pepped up on medication, and you've got Paul DeGelder in your head telling you not to define, like no disability can define you. What was the moment then that you decided, okay, my life is worth living? What was the trajectory to get where you are today?
I think the major defining moment I can think about is like I was going through little things. Like each day I was like learning how to brush my teeth again, how to like go to the toilet by myself again. And those little steps. And then there was one day I was trying to feed my border collie Diesel, and I picked up this 15-kilo bag of dog food. And when I did, I ripped all my ribs. And I'm just trying to like give him some food, like biscuits in like a cup. Should be pretty easy. But because my ribs were so broken, I just ripped all of them. And I was in so much pain. I just threw the dog food all over the place and just ended up in the ball. And that's when I realized that I wasn't doing okay. I was such a weak, like mental person, physical person. There was nothing left of me. And I ended up on the floor like bawling for an hour. And like Diesel thought it was the best thing ever because he got to eat 15 kilos of dog food.
Yeah,
Literally.
Then
Lick
he
your
came over
face.
to me and like, yeah, he came over to me, lay on me, and like he's become my like, unofficial assistance dog. And I just bawl my eyes out on my dog for like an hour. And then I was like, all right, in order to be physically strong, I need to be mentally strong.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to get back into the gym. I need to start training.
Yeah.
I had a weight bench down in the shed. I'm like, all right, I used to do like 50 kilos each arm. I can do 50 and I'm being reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm picking a weight that I can do. So I was like, all right, let's try and do it. So I went back on the bench and I fell off the bench. What I didn't account for is you use your legs to stabilize.
Yes.
And I hadn't even considered this fact. So I went back, just fell on the floor again, threw a tantrum, threw some weights around.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to need some help here. My brother's PT at the time had said, look, when you're ready,
Yeah.
like, come see me. Let's start training. And this is probably about, about 2 months after my accident.
Yeah.
So like ribs are starting to heal, starting to get a bit better. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym with this guy. And Dino like is an Army reservist, really fit young guy. So I go in and have a chat with him. And I was like, I had this attitude. I was pissed off at the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, what makes you think you're entitled to train me? What do you know about people with disabilities?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, fuck all.
Yeah.
He's like, but I don't see anyone else here to help. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm willing to be here. I'm willing to learn. And if you're willing to put the work in, I'm willing to be here.
Epic.
And then it kind of considered that chip on my shoulder kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what? This guy's here. He's willing to help. So we learned how to do things. I learned how to pistol squat and like into my wheelchair with a broomstick. I learned how to deadlift on one leg.
Yeah.
And there were tiny things. We weren't even using weights. We're using bloody broomsticks.
Yeah.
But learning that mobility and how to adapt with one leg, I started going, okay, then what can I do? And then I started adding all the weight. And people in the gym looked at me like it was an absolute freak. But it was because I was lifting more than them on one leg.
Yeah, yeah.
We're in the street. Everyone looked at me as a freak because I'm covered head to toe in scars.
Yeah.
So like that fitness community became just fuel for me.
Yeah.
I guess I use that as a bit of coping strategy.
Yeah.
I've got a very addictive personality. Whatever I do, it's addictive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Painkiller addictions, alcohol addictions, it's been everything. But for me, the gym has always been my addiction.
Yeah. Wow.
And I chased that gold medal feeling is that I would get so many accolades and like applause for being in the gym with one leg and the crazy stuff I did.
Yep.
And like I could be having the worst head day, or be like suicidal, and I would go to the gym for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And if I trained my ass up for those 3 hours, it was the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And that's just what kept me going. It's just I had to train. So I guess I pushed the mental health stuff away by training.
Yeah.
And it was that really tight entwined connection of how I got through all the mental health stuff.
But you need that connection, right? Like it's just so amazing to hear that there were actually people right next to you being like, hey, like we're here to support you. And I love that you actually touched on like, I had this chip on my shoulder, like, well, who the heck are you?
Yeah.
How do you know what to do? And you had that and it was like, as soon as someone was honest and like probably, did you feel like other people treated you differently because you either were covered in scars, you had one leg? Did you ever find, or do you still find, that people do treat you quote unquote differently?
100%. And it can be depending on what type of mobility aid. So I can go to work for 8 hours on my leg, like be a PT and like absolute kill it as a PT, whatever. And then come home, I'm like, my leg's sore. I'm going to jump in my wheelchair and go to the shops and get myself something for dinner. And people are like, oh, what's the matter? Are you lazy? Do you not use one of those prosthetics?
Oh.
And like people don't understand like the amount of pain. Like it's not like you just get a prosthetic and you're good.
Yeah.
It's like you rub all the skin off. It's like, so they say using a prosthetic is like wearing a set of high heels that are 3 times too small.
Uh-huh.
So it's
I can
pretty
relate.
uncomfortable. Yeah. So using them, it just condenses everything and your leg is so sore. But being able to actually get around mobility, have your hands compared to being in a wheelchair is a huge difference. And I guess the way people treat you differently, 100%. The friends I had when I lost my leg aren't the same friends I have now.
Yes.
And I guess that's part of because I've grown, I've changed. It's the same as when you leave school. You don't still have the same friends.
Mm-hmm.
You learn, you adapt. And the people that you have the similar like interest to are the people around you.
Yeah.
So I guess, I've really changed as a person in the last 7 years. So
But I also think with that friendship thing as well, it's like you grow so much when something life-changing happens to you, right? And I feel like sometimes when you start growing and shifting and changing, it's like we can't have the same mates that, are over here or are staying over in their lane,
Yeah, well, all the mates used to party with, that's great, but it's not aligned with my fitness
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
So you grow, you change. And I think as well, like sometimes when you go into those mental health battles, you burn bridges. But there's times where I wasn't the easiest person to be around.
Yeah.
I was so stuck in my ways. And I guess I am a very stubborn person. So I burnt bridges, and those friends probably don't look at me the same. So it works both ways, is that like I'm probably not someone that they still want to be around. But now, because I've changed in the way I move, like, yeah, you just move through different stages. And I guess you have the people in those stages of your lives. And of course, you have the couple of friends that are through every stage of your life.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, as we go through, we learn, we grow, we develop, and everyone around you changes.
Totally.
I do want to touch on, because you were in the Navy for like a large portion of your life, and then obviously your life changed, and I know now you're working in the PT field. Can you just like tell us, like, navigate how you went? Were you able to go back to the Navy at all, or was it just like a hard cut discharge, or like how did you go from the Navy to now transitioning to you're a PT now?
Yeah. So how it worked is I got the offer. It was like, if you can be as fit and strong as any other sailor, we'll let you stay in. And of course, to me, someone puts a challenge in front of me. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
let's do
So
it.
like
Yeah,
fitness.
how high can I jump?
You still have
Yeah.
to do fitness tests for Navy.
Yeah, so
with
still have
one
the
leg.
fitness test, and I could pass the fitness test on one leg. Like I could absolutely smash it. And then, like for me, trying to be a marine technician, so I was basically a mechanic in the Navy.
Yeah.
Down in the hot engine rooms, wearing a neoprene like liner on your leg
God.
and oil sliding all over the place. It wasn't a safe place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, being on your leg, carrying heavy weights up and down ladder bays.
Yeah.
Practically, it just wasn't going to happen. So I actually stayed in the Navy for 5 years after, but I started changing over to be a physical fitness instructor
Cool.
in the Navy. So PTI, so it's like the Navy PTs.
Yeah.
I was able to do every component apart from the run component. When it came to the run component, it's I think a 21 minute for the 5K, and I was able to only do it in the 23 minutes. So I
Wow.
couldn't make the time.
Pretty
So
solid.
like, still a pretty quick time on one leg.
Yeah.
That is a
The Navy
freaking good
is,
time.
yeah, the Navy's stuck in the ways. And that is what I found, is that it didn't matter how much, I guess, I tried and what I put into it. Like I was making the female time on one leg,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, look, I can make the female time. But they're like, yeah, but you're a male.
Yeah.
And I was
Okay.
like, but I'm different to males. Like I've got
Yeah.
one leg, I'm doing the same stuff,
Yep.
putting in twice as much effort.
Wow.
And then I kind of realized that like it was completely draining going to a workplace every day. And look, the Navy were amazing. They supported me
Yep.
for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to discredit anything they did.
Yeah.
But for me, I was struggling with my mental health, my PTSD, and I wasn't coping. But I wasn't, like, the Navy's not a place you can talk about it. If you
Yeah.
start bringing up that you have issues, you're bubble wrapped. I listened to Mark Wales' podcast with you guys, and exact same. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you bring
Yeah.
up that you've got issues, you're put in bubble wrap, and they're trying to say protect you. They're trying to do the right thing, but you can't function. You can't do your job. You're then taken out of that active role and put into a safe place while you deal with it.
Exactly.
But at the same time, being in that safe place isn't helping you, because you're just cut off from all your mates, you're cut off from work. And it's just, you sit there like, I guess, like festering away.
Yeah.
And for me, I just ended up like really unhappy, really struggling with who I was, my identity.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, okay, it's probably time I take my medical discharge. My PTSD is getting really bad.
Yeah.
And let's actually get out and deal with my mental health issues.
So good.
So from there, I discharged, and then I was like, okay, I love fitness. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
My plan was to go into like working with people with disabilities and actually finding people like myself and training them.
Yep.
What I was finding is it was a lot of intellectual disability. I couldn't really find a lot of people with physical disability. So what I'm doing now is just group fitness training. So not where I want to be, but right now it allows me to do my training and focus on my kayaking.
Yep.
It works pretty well. Like,
That's cool.
Can we talk about your kayaking?
Yeah, I wanna get into this.
Like, can we
kayaking.
get into this? Okay, so can you run us through when were you kayaking before your accident, or is this something that you kind of fell into when you went after your accident?
Oh, there was a lot of falling in. So I kayaked a little bit in high school. And for me, I did the Invictus Games. Prince Harry, his games, which are like the military Paralympics.
Yeah.
I did that in 2018, and I got a gold medal in wheelchair rugby and a bronze medal in indoor rowing.
Yes.
And while I was doing that,
Amazing.
Curtis McGrath, who is like just the best bloke, he's ex-army, he lost both legs in an IED blast. He's actually an ex-Invictus Games athlete, and now he's like a 3-time Paralympian gold medalist kayaker. He's like, hey, look, we're looking for more kayakers for the team. Come give it a crack.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good at everything. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I got on the
love the
boat, and
attitude.
oh my God, like this boat, like the tide, it's like just that much bigger than your hips.
Yeah.
And I'm not a small bloke. I'm like 110 kilos. So me in this little tiny boat trying to stay upright, I kept falling in, and I could just not stay upright. But the fact I couldn't do it pissed me off that much that I just kept going back. And I fell in love with the sport because of how hard it was, because of like how many things you have to overcome just to stay upright in the kayak.
Yes.
So then as I started doing it, started getting more and more in love with the sport, the community, the people around it. However, there wasn't the facility. So I did the national championships, got the silver at the national championships my first year. And then unless you're at that top level ready to go and represent Australia, there was no avenue, there was no entry development to it.
Yeah.
So I kind of just fizzled off and went and did a load of other things. I went and did snowboarding, wakeboarding, biathlon, everything else that people waved in front of me. I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's go do it. Yeah, I was like, I mean, that's it. When you're an adaptive athlete and you've got that potential, like everybody wants you. So you get a lot of offers and a lot of opportunities.
Oh, and if you've got the mindset like yourself, man,
Agreed.
you're so like, even you're so honest in a sense of you're like, oh yeah, I could crush this. And you figure it's hard, but you're like, man, you're just going for gold. I love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's been a pretty cool thing. And then my coach now, we had a new director come over to Waste to the Institute of Sport. And he was like, where's your paracanoe program? He just came from the UK and they have a huge paracanoe program.
Yeah.
So we don't have one. There's like one guy that mucks around in a kayak and paddles. And he's like, start one. So then, got a phone call. He's like, do you want to give it another crack? I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Raman Anderson, who's an ex-Olympian himself, has just been amazing and instrumental to take me from just like a general fitness person to now an athlete. So I've been with the Institute of Sport now for 3 years. I was recently over in Poland competing at the World Cup. However, I got COVID, which, the day of my finals, I tested positive, which was a bit unfortunate. But that's now, so that's now turned into long COVID. So I'm still recovering 4 months later, belly paddling. I'm getting like 1 or 2 sessions in a week, really suffering from it. So again, that's been another hurdle is when you're this athlete and then that gets taken away from you. Like my coping strategy, put your head down and grind, go train. When you can't train, what do you do? How do you cope with that? So it's been a big year of learning for me that like I've had to learn other coping mechanisms actually deal with some mental health issues.
Yeah, can I ask what they actually are?
Can you elaborate on those?
Yeah, so normally it's, I'll go and train. Like if I'm having a bad day, I go to the gym. That's my happy place. I'll go, I'll train, I'll paddle. When you're like on the water at 5 a.m., you're at a sunrise, it's beautiful. That's great. Like you can't have a bad day with that. So now I've actually had to sit down and write some feelings down, actually talk to my friends and my partner about what I'm going through. I can't just shut myself in my study and just work. I've actually got to break down and I guess talk about it. I've been seeing a psychologist for the last 5 years. And to actually get to that stage was really difficult because as men, young, strong, independent men, we don't have issues. And it actually took to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm not okay here. Like I was really suicidal, really struggling. I was drinking ridiculously just to deal with it because like when I had that buzz or when I was using painkillers to just take the pain away, I didn't have to deal with it. So that was some of the coping strategies I had, which weren't the healthiest, but they got me through. So now, it's a lot more talking about it, actually processing the emotions. It'll be taking that little break when I need it, writing things down, which I often write, like, because I do quite a bit of keynote speaking. I'll write a keynote speech, but I'll actually put how I'm feeling in it. And it's not to anyone, it's just to myself. But I'll have these speeches that I write and it's just like getting everything out, getting it all on paper. And then you read it out loud. And when you're actually sitting there, you kind of just feel the emotions so much more intensely. It's been a weird kind of way to learn to express myself.
I actually love that you have spoken about this because I actually think this is really it's just so important to, especially like you were saying, as a 22, 23-year-old guy, you were invincible, right? That's what you said just before. You were like, I can just do anything and nothing can affect me and nothing or and I'm sure you boys will be able to talk on that. But I just think it's so important to actually have that release, either whether it's journaling, writing it down, speaking it out loud, talking to a friend, talking to your partner. It's like if they're, again, like you were saying before, you numb your pain through other vices, which might be alcohol, drugs, whatever it might be. And I just think that's actually it's so cool to hear you talking about this, and actually from a 29-year-old male being like, hey, let's talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
And Cal,
totally.
like Cal is the exact same, where
Yeah.
it's just so important for us to actually talk, because in here, in our mind, we can concoct some major stories.
Well, I mean, and you've,
Well, that's it.
like Em said, like you've taken ownership in every part like that has been pushed against you. You've taken ownership, and you've found something to get over that hurdle, and now you're like taking ownership in your feelings, right? And I think that's
It's
I
like
would say
admirable.
harder.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
think admirable,
100%.
but so much harder, because you could be like, oh, I feel like crap, I'm gonna go to the gym.
Yeah.
It's like,
Or drink, or
I can't go to the gym, I feel like crap, let me just journal.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's not the same release. And like, I've been sober for 20 months now.
Nice.
Because for me, like,
Amazing.
I know that if I have another drink, like I'm the type of person I'd be like, yes, that release, let's keep going.
yeah,
But I think it's that social media world we live in, where like what I used to do is put up my highlights. Like if you look at my Instagram now, I barely post.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I post, I'm not being real to myself. Like right now, I'm struggling. I'm dealing with mental health issues.
Yeah.
So if I post this, I'm having the best time of my life. I'm hitting all my training goals, where I'm training once a week, barely even moving a boat, going from like the Australian team to now like barely able to stay in a boat and stay upright and breathe. I feel like I'm not being honest. I'm not being genuine. And I guess that's that kind of like trap we fall in. We post all these amazing Bali trips and we're having the best time of our lives and everything's great. But inside we're dying. And that's exactly what I used to do. I used to show everyone the highlights. You look every weekend, I was off chasing another gold medal, chasing some other dream, just achievement. Because when I did that, everyone's like, you're the most amazing person. You get all these accolades.
Yeah. So like gratification.
People think I'm amazing. Oh my God. And then, but you're not actually dealing with what's going on inside.
Exactly.
And we're all so guilty of falling into that trap that you just post the highlights, post the lowlights, let people see what you're going through, because then we make it socially acceptable. We're talking about it, talking about what we go through on a daily basis. I mean, we've got to have these perfect Instagram bodies. What happens when you put on a bit of weight? What do you deal with that? People just go, oh, I'm not going to post for 3 months until I lose the weight. But I mean, it's not realistic.
It's like my guy's a motivational speaker over here.
It's like he knows what he's actually talking about, honestly.
That's a keynote right there. I like that. I like that a lot. And especially, again, coming from a male, like I'm 30, and I mean, I have not been through what you've been through at all, but it's so cool to hear that someone who has been against something for their entire life, it seems, from 22 until where you are now, hurdle after hurdle, you just keep, okay, here's my hurdle. What can I do to overcome that? Instead of just giving up, like that's cool. That's what we need more of, right?
Yeah, I get that a lot. People are like, oh, if I was in your shoes, I couldn't do what you do. Like I was like, well, you don't get an option. Like, I think like everyone looks at someone like myself and they're like, oh, I haven't been what you've been through, so I can't complain.
Yeah.
But everything's relative. What we go through each and every day, whether it's a breakup, whether it's putting on a bit of weight, losing your job, like it's in that moment. If that affects you, that's what you need to deal with. And just because someone hasn't died because you haven't been in like a life-changing car accident, it doesn't matter. And I think, we get in this trap of like comparing ourselves to everyone else and going, oh, well, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to push that aside because it's not a big issue. Yeah. And we actually just need to talk about what's going on in our lives and actually be real with each other, because we're also fake to each other. Everything, oh yeah, I'm great. And like, you're not, you're dying on the inside. Like, as a PT, like you've got to like act, you've got to put that like face on and go, yeah, we're good. Like I'm having the best day of my life. Yeah. And you're dying inside.
Because you're that bounce off for the other person. Like if they're having a bad day, you're like almost their therapist. Ultimately.
Yeah, that's it. I've never done as much therapy as I'd have since become a PT.
And we like to sometimes call
therapy, really.
we like to call ourselves like unqualified therapists sometimes.
Yeah, just giving our life advice. Okay, so you've been through so much. You've done your Olympics in the World Cup in Poland.
Yeah.
What are we looking at in the future?
Next?
What's next? What do we need? What do we want to do?
I want the Paralympics. I know I'm still gold medal chasing. Yeah. And I've got to be careful of that, because I had a chat with actually Brad Ness, who's the wheelchair basketball coach at the Institute of Sport. And he's an amputee himself. He's a 4-time Paralympian. He's been there, done everything. And when I was starting this journey, I was kind of aware that I was having this kind of gold medal chasing episode, and I needed to be careful that I'm not just looking for that next thing to chase. Because, I wasn't actually enjoying what I was doing. Yeah. I would just look for that next thing. And everyone would be like, you're amazing. I'm like, I'm already halfway to the next goal. I didn't even stop to process it.
Yes.
I like spend that much time worrying about what I'm doing and about the results more than the actual experience.
Yes.
So I was having that chat with Brad, and he's like, "Look, I'm like, is this worth it? Like, should I do this?" And he's like, "If you're going to go to the Paralympics to win a medal, he's like, don't waste your time. Not because you can't win a medal, because if you're sacrificing getting up at 4:30 every morning, 6 days a week,
Yeah.
and you're sacrificing your friend time, your relationship, all the time away." He's like, "No, don't do it." He's like, "If you do it for the journey because you want to grow, you want to be this person." He's like, "Because you're not going to be the same person afterwards, then 100% go for it." So I want to make Paris, but it's a long shot. So Curtis McGrath, I've got to beat him. There's only one spot for Australia, and he's the three-time world champion. So I've got to be best in the world if I want Paris,
Yes.
which is a hard goal. Kurt is an amazing athlete. So it's probably looking like LA, but I'm still going to give Paris qualifiers a pretty big shot.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
I bet
I'm
you
just
are.
going to get my body back in shape.
Yeah.
Put a few kilos on since not training. So we've got to, bounce back from this, get myself back in form, and hopefully come back.
I literally love what you just said, and I actually truly believe that to my core as well. The journey needs to be better than the destination or the goal, like the end goal. Because what do you do? What do you do it for? Because like you just said, Mark, like you get to that end, and you've grinded, you've hustled, you've done all the things, you've sacrificed, and if you don't get it, it's like, well, like, what was the point? And all these like things start to kind of go through your mind. And what I actually really want to ask you is, what motivates you?
I guess for me, like at 22, I figured out what it was like to die. I lay on the side of the road, and people say that when you die, like your life flashes before you. For me, it didn't. It was every reason I wanted to live. It was every mistake I made, every time I was an asshole to someone, every time I just wanted to be a better person. I just begged for whoever was listening, like God, whoever else, not religious, but whoever was there, I was begging anyone.
Yeah.
I'm laying on the side of the road, bleeding out. I've got 5 minutes left to live. The ambulance is 7 minutes. I'm like, I'm dying here. This is where I die. And like, you've lost it all. You know what it's like to die.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you've got a second chance. And I made that promise that if I got a second chance, I'm living it. I'm living every second of it. So that's probably why I went out so hard at the start. But when you know what it's like to lose everything, you want to make the most of everything. You enjoy every sunrise, every sunset.
Yeah.
Like you want to wake up and just live life. So for me, I guess part of it is redefining what it means to be disabled, is that you don't see a lot of it. I mean, we're getting better with it. And like brands are getting a lot more inclusive. We're seeing a lot more publicized about it. People with disabilities on TV. There's a lot of people doing amazing work. But I guess it's like changing that mentality of people like myself, is that being disabled is a burden, and to change it to having a disability can be the most inspiring thing.
Yeah.
Or like you can live your life as a normal person and do everything anyone else can do. Yes, it's a bit harder. Like, yes, you need a lot more funding and a lot more equipment, but you can live life. And I guess it's just showing people that, and I guess it's proven to myself that like I've got the second chance and I'm doing everything I can with it.
Honestly, that is seriously so inspiring. Like that, quite ridiculous. I want to talk about that funding because I have heard that it is very expensive to have how many prosthetic legs you have.
Yes, I have a fleet of legs. So the only thing I have more than legs is shoes. My shoe collection is ridiculous. However, my leg collection is worth over $500,000.
Damn.
These legs
Unbelievable.
There's some good legs.
Hang on, I've got one.
Yes.
Yeah, give us a look.
All right, so this is my everyday. Oh, it's full of water from kayaking. I'm getting soaked right now.
Oh, wow.
So this is my everyday leg. So I use kind of like a little mini blade on it.
Yep.
And then my leg sits in this part.
Yeah.
So I've got 6 different prosthetics. One lets me. I'm an absolute drench right now. I just empty my leg at the
It was worth it. It was worth it.
So I've got like 2 of those legs. They're $160,000 each. My running leg is $20,000. My cycling leg's $30,000. I've got a leg that lets me like power lift, wakeboard, and snowboard. That's another $20,000. And then I've just got like the basic leg I got from hospital, which is about $10,000. Wow. They've got to be changed between every 3 to 6 years. And everyone's like, oh, you have all these cool, amazing legs. But people don't get access to what I've got. I've got it because I've got over $200,000 worth of debt for legs. Yep. And for me, like not having the money, like didn't matter. Having the quality of life, I had to justify being alive. And I needed to get back to what I was doing beforehand. So I had loans, I had fundraising, I borrowed from the insurance commission to be able to get the legs that I need.
Yeah.
Because most people get a really basic leg and they don't have the quality of life they want because they don't have the mobility.
Yeah.
And although we have NDIS now and that's helping a lot of people, you're still not getting top quality legs.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, oh, but it's a luxury to have these legs. But I mean, do you guys need to justify $20,000 before you can go for a run?
Yeah.
And that's what we're kind of missing is the people making these decisions aren't the people that have to fork out $40,000 to be able to ride a bike.
Yeah.
They want to go to the gym, so that's another $20,000.
Yeah.
To do triathlon, it cost me $50,000 just to do a triathlon.
Yeah.
Just because I needed the legs to be able to do it.
That is...
And I guess these are the things that people don't realize is like, yes, we have this amazing technology, but you've got to pay for it yourself. You've got to find a way to fundraise to get the money. And I've had some amazing people support me and help me get the money. But without those people, I probably wouldn't have the quality of life or have done as much as I have in the last 7 years.
Yeah, honestly, it's actually quite amazing.
Yeah. It's just,
that's
it's unreal.
mind blowing.
It is.
It's more like it's like in perspective for me. It's like I recently just did a half marathon, and like 6 weeks before that, I just went out and bought a new pair of shoes that I could run in. And it's like that need, there's that need versus want. Like I just wanted a new pair of shoes to run in. I had another pair. I wanted, but you need a leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't run without a running blade. Like,
no, you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basic legs. Like these are things we need. But then the way that the Insurance Commission and NDIS look at it is that you have to be able to justify it. You have to make it reasonable and justify it.
Yeah.
And for them being able to run is a want, not a need.
Yeah, you
need to be able to walk. You don't need to be able to run.
Exactly. And I actually, if you could tell someone who potentially is going through something that you went through, or even anyone with a disability, what would you say to them?
I guess never take no for an answer. There's always a way. There's always a way we can adapt, a way we can relearn. Learning how to drive again, like it seems like a huge thing, but learning to drive with your left leg, like you guys try and use your left leg on a brake, you nearly put yourself through the windscreen.
Exactly. I have done that.
Drive when you've actually got to drive with your left leg, things like that.
Yeah.
There's always a way to learn it, and it's just about that mentality shift. And when you're not trying to push against the system. So the mistake I made very, very early on is I refused to be disabled. I wasn't disabled. I was going to fight against it. I was going to prove to everyone I did not have a disability.
Yep.
And I nearly killed myself doing it. I nearly broke my body because I was doing it so violently, and like with all the deadlifting and those crazy box jumps you were talking about at the start. That was the stuff that was killing me because I wasn't doing any rehab or wasn't learning how to do it safely. I was just setting these stupid goals and doing them.
Improving.
So yes, they look amazing on Instagram. You get all the hype, but then it's like what it's doing to you. It's learning, find people that know, like network with other amputees, figure out who's done it. The best way I've actually learned is reaching out to people that have done things. And like, there's no guide to being an amputee, but we're all here to guide each other because we know what it's like when you're in that situation.
Yes.
That's
you
so
wake
cool.
up and you're like, okay, this is my life. How do I do this? So when you've got this amazing support network and people are willing to help you, like just reach out to people.
Yeah. And it sounds like from like the people that helped you along that journey, like Paul DeGelder and those guys that it, like you're putting it in the proof is in the pudding there, that you've looked up to people who have been in a similar circumstance that have helped you. But it's even cool just to see like the journey that you've transitioned from, like who you just wanted to prove to the world that you weren't disabled, to then like owning it and being like, okay, then I am where I'm at now, but I'm not going to let that define me. And I think that's sick. And like you said, you've got it tattooed on you, right?
Yeah. You can't get rid of that now.
Yeah. That's on you for life.
You've actually got to live by it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, before we wrap up, Mark, normally what we do is a little fast five. So basically, we're just going to rapid fire 5 quick questions at you, and just whatever comes to mind, honestly, spit it out, okay?
All right, let's do it.
Okay. First one is, if you could beat a Guinness World Record, what would it be for?
Highest one-legged box jump.
Highest one-legged box jump. Yeah, I love that. What would yours be?
Mine?
Yeah.
Holding my breath the longest.
Wow, really?
What would yours be?
Mine would be something dumb, like how many
harmonicas you can hold in one hand.
something dumb. Something dumb, I know it.
If you could live on the sea for the rest of your life or live on land, what would it be?
Sea. Always been ocean. Love being under the water, on the water, around the water.
Yeah.
I love
I'd
that.
be the one-legged mermaid.
Yeah, can we make that happen, please?
I would love to see that.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Favorite food?
Chocolate.
My man. My man. We can hang out. Yep.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
Buy everyone legs.
That's really cool.
Literally help everyone with everything, get them the funding they need for the equipment, more access to adaptive sports, equipment and schooling, stuff like that. Just get people involved earlier.
Amazing.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. And lucky last is sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
I'm the same.
It'll be up early and grind.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Sunrise is the best.
I'm ready for bed at sunset.
Yeah.
Feels if we're up at sunrise or before sunrise, we need to be
early bed.
Early to bed.
You got to catch the sunrise the next morning. It works in this loop. Mark,
it's a cycle.
Thank you so much for joining us. You are truly an inspiration, and it's been. I still can't fathom. I'm still in my head. I'm listening to that list of injuries that you went through, and everything that you've been up against. A true testament to the nature that you are now. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring other people. People are going to look up to you as well, just as you did to Paul DeGelder and all those other names that you've dropped as well.
100%.
We want to see a parrot.
We want to see you in LA, or can we aim for Paris? Like, do we dare? Do we dare say it out loud? Like, yes.
Look, I'm going to give it a shot. Manifesting it, it's going to happen. I'll give it a crack, and if I miss, then we learn from it, we move on and set that next goal.
I don't want to set it up just yet, but we have this thing going on. We had Mark Wales on, and he then won Survivor, and then we had Matt Denny on, and he just got gold at the
we do
Games,
things to people. I don't want to talk our stuff up, but we do things to people.
All right. Look, I'll come back on when I win a gold medal.
Yes.
Come back on, guys, and we'll have another chat.
Yes, we would love to. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks, man.
Nah, thanks, guys. It's been awesome.
Awesome. All right. Catch ya.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Damn, dude, what an episode.
Wow.
My guy Mark is, not only is he incredibly honest and vulnerable, but just straight up motivational. I love how he would own whatever it was, adapt to it, and just continue pursuing. That's what I got out of it.
I loved it as well so much. Like, there were so many key takeaways. Something that I just loved that he said was focusing on the journey and not the end destination. And I just believe that so hard to my core.
Yeah. Huge. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Good as Gold. If you would like to comment, subscribe, send a rating.
Send it to your Grammy.
Grandma would love this episode.
I actually agree. I feel like this episode is anyone can listen to and get something out and be inspired and be empowered. I honestly, send it to your grandma.
Yeah. And I'm going to end with the motto that Mark actually has tattooed on his body. I define my limits do not define me.
Boom!
Boom! Mic drop. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Good as gold. Gooder as golder.